Welcome to MA125 College Algebra and Trigonometry. I'm Sean Davis, I'll be your instructor. You can refer to me as Mr. Davis or Professor Davis. And today, at this point, I just want to give a little bit of information about the course, how it's going to run, and kind of go through some things from the syllabus. So it's just going to be a little bit of informational session. Please pay attention because things will be covered in this video that will help you throughout the course, and that this way you'll know how to submit assignments, what's expected of you, and how it's going to work. So, first of all, I do want to point out that this is a 5-week course. Now, it's a 4 credit hour course that's being done over 5 weeks. Which means if you figure that our normal semester would be 15 weeks, that means we're doing 3 times the work each week. So your 4 credit hour course that you're taking is really the equivalent of a 12 credit hour course load. So essentially you can consider this one course as being a full-time course load, as if you were taking a full course load throughout the semester. So realize that I've run into many students who looked at it and said, oh, well, I just have the one class, I can take the class, I can work full time, and life will be good. Realize that you're going to need to put a lot of time and effort into this course on a daily basis. There will be lecture videos that will show up, and those I will try to have up by 8 a.m. on Monday, all the videos for the week. Since this is 4 credit hours being done in a third of the time, that's the equivalent of 12 hours of lecture, which will be covered in those lecture videos. Now, obviously, since I don't have some of the delays that would happen in an in-person class, you will be able to view those lectures in less time. They're not all going to be hour-long lectures, and it won't be a total of 12 hours of lecture a week. But nice thing is, because I'm doing these videos, you will be able to view them at your pace, meaning you can slow down the video a little bit if you want to make sure that you understand it better. You can speed it up if it's something that you're more familiar with. You can rewind it or review certain sections of it to help you out in that. And yes, I am holding some paperwork. That's my syllabus, which we're going to cover a little bit, and just some topics that I want to make sure that I discuss at this point in time. Now, if we look at the syllabus, and let me make this clear also, I'm going to put this on the board. This course runs from 5/24 to 6/28. So the first set of lectures will be available by 8 a.m. on Monday, the 24th of May. Officially, our final exam will be on June 28th. It will be available for 24 hours, so that'll be available from 8 a.m. on Monday the 28th until 8 a.m. on Tuesday the 29th, because I have to have grades in by Wednesday the 30th at noon. So final exam will be happening at that point. There will be a couple exams along the way, and we'll talk about that as we continue on. So it is a fast course or a quick course, 5 weeks, a lot of material. If I were teaching this in person, we would be having 3 hours of lecture, 4 days a week, so Monday through Thursday. The way I've set it up in this course, we will have the equivalent of that. You will have the videos in place for that. And the assignments you'll see become due Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So the assignments will be due at noon each of those days. So you can, if you choose, watch the videos on Monday for the assignments that are due Tuesday. Watch the videos on Tuesday for the assignments that are due Wednesday, etc. And this kind of fills our full week. Or you may choose to kind of pound through the whole week's videos in succession. You can watch a video, do the assignment, watch a video, do the assignment, watch the video, do the assignment, and as long as you turn them in time, then life is good. What you do not want to do is get behind on the videos and the assignments. Remember, each day of class is the equivalent of 3 days of class in a normal semester. So just keep that in mind. You get behind, it's going to be very hard to catch up. So make sure that you are careful about that. Okay? The syllabus is available on Blackboard. I have a copy right here that I'm going to refer to, but it is available on Blackboard. We do use Blackboard in this course. In fact, that's how your syllabus is available to you. That's how your textbook is available to you, because I'm actually using algebra and trigonometry. Well, actually, I should say I have a source textbook that I used to organize my materials, and that's listed on the syllabus. You do not need that textbook. I have a supplemental text, which is through OpenStax, which I have in PDF format on Blackboard. So you can refer to that on the different topics to get a little more help beyond what you get from the videos. You do not need to purchase a textbook for this course. You will need a scientific calculator though, and I'm not saying to use your cell phone or a computer. Please get an actual scientific calculator if you are continuing on to higher level mathematics. So if you're continuing on to pre-calculus and calculus, and you don't already have a scientific calculator, then you might want to consider getting yourself a graphing calculator at this point in time, because you will use it and need it in those courses. But for this course in particular, if this is as far as you're going, or if you already have a scientific calculator, then you can just stick with a standard scientific calculator. One that I suggest to students quite often is the TI 30X2S. It is a very powerful 2-variable scientific calculator. It'll do everything you need in this course and more. It does everything that you need in a statistics course. It's a very powerful calculator sold for very cheap. And it's very intuitive, much easier to use than a lot of other calculators. If you already have a scientific calculator, don't go out and buy this one. You don't need this calculator in particular. I just suggest it because the price point is good, its capabilities are incredible, and it's really easy to use. That's the calculator that I get for my kids when they need a scientific calculator. But as I said, if you already have a graphing calculator, by all means, use that graphing calculator. You don't need to revert back to a standard scientific calculator. If you don't have a scientific calculator and you're planning on going on to higher level mathematics, then by all means feel free to get yourself a scientific calculator. Or you can get this one for use in this course. This is a calculator you'll be able to use the rest of your life. So just keep that in mind. You just do need a scientific calculator. As I said, I prefer that people don't use their cell phones and such, because it's not the same, and you will notice that trying to do calculations on a cell phone is not the same as doing it on the same or equivalent actual calculator. I have an emulator on my cell phone that allows me to use essentially the same calculator that I use in person, and it's just not the same. It's harder to use, even though it's the exact same keyboard layout, runs exactly the same. Touchscreen versus tactile buttons, just not the same. Okay, so we got that. I do want to point out, obviously, as I said, I'm an instructor. I do have an office in Payne Hall 370, but this being an asynchronous online summer course, it is rare that I would be in that office per se. You can contact me through my email address, which is on the syllabus, but it is sdavis2 at mvcc.edu. Don't forget the 2. If you forget the 2, I don't get the email. So that is a wonderful way to contact me. Now, I will tell you that there is a phone number listed on the syllabus. You should basically just ignore that because that's my office phone number and I will probably never see it. Other than coming on campus to make videos as necessary, I'll probably be working strictly from home. So I'm not going to know that that phone call ever came in. So if you need to contact me, use my email address. Don't forget the 2. Please include who you are, especially if you have to use a personal account. I've received emails from students and they just start into a question or ask something and they never state who they are and they sent it from an external email account. Realize also that non-MVCC email accounts many times get blocked by the spam blocker. So it's preferred that you use your school email account. If you can't, then by all means use your personal one. Just realize it may delay communication or block it entirely. As I said, we will be using Blackboard. So basically Blackboard will have all your homework assignments on it, all the due dates will be there, exams will be administered through Blackboard, including the final exam. So all of that will be there. The textbook is there in electronic form. So anything I can give to help, that's where you're going to find it. I will be holding office hours, but not at set times. So basically, if you need to meet with me, please send me an email to set up a time for us to meet. And when we meet, we'll use Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, which there is a link in Blackboard for that. So you'll just click on that and it'll take you to our course room. And from there, we'll be able to meet. Or actually, I should clarify that it will take you to the office hours course room on my master site because I have made the course room on Blackboard available to you to use for study groups if you want to communicate with other students in the class. I've also made the discussion board available to you so you can have discussions about assignments and the material with other students in the class. So that's why you'll see that there's a course room tab in Blackboard. That will get you into the course room that you can meet with other students. There's a discussion board or discussions tab that will allow you to do online discussions with other students through texting and messaging. And then there's the office hours tab. That's the one that'll take you to my master site course room. If you make schedule a time with me to meet for an office hour and you get signed on before I do, that course room will be locked, but I will unlock it when I get there. So don't panic unless it's well after the time that I was supposed to be there with you, because I'll be there, I'll unlock it, and then once we're done, I'll lock it again. So that one won't be available to everybody to use whenever, but the courses course room, through its course room tab, that will be available to you. Now I mentioned these videos. These videos are going to be the equivalent of us having actual lectures. You will see me here. I've got a nice big board in here, and I will be working through the different problems and demonstrating things in those videos. Those videos are available through the Topic Videos tab in Blackboard, which basically takes you to YouTube, where I am putting those up in an MA125 College Algebra and Trig playlist. So those will all be available to you. You can download them. I think you can download them from there. No, actually you won't. I can download them from there. You can't download them from there. But you'll be able to play them as many times as you want, slow them down, speed them up. Subtitles or closed captioning, I do have it set up so that it automatically closed captions. So you may run into some things where the captions look a little strange because I'm saying something and it's captioning. It's auto captioning, but it should be able to help you understand that. If you have any questions or concerns about them, you can email me. I'll get to them as soon as I can, hopefully on a daily basis, but it's a little different during the summer semester and how much time I'm actually in front of the computer to see that. But it's still your best way. I will try to check them at minimum on a daily basis so I can respond back if there are any concerns. So those will work well and those will be available too. Now, homework assignments, which obviously we're going to have homework assignments. As I said, those have due dates on Blackboard. What you're going to do with homework assignments and with the exams actually, they are available to you on Blackboard. You will then download them and print them out if possible. If you don't have the ability to print them out, then you'll just use your own paper to write down answers. But I want all assignments and exams done by hand, meaning handwritten on the papers. Don't try typing stuff into the computer and formatting it on there and such. All of the assignments and exams are going to be given to you in a PDF format. So if you can print them out, that's great. Print them out. Write the answers on the exam paper or the homework assignment paper, and then either scan them into your computer using a printer, or take a picture of them with the computer or with a cell phone, and then convert that to a PDF. If you don't know how to convert that to a PDF, there are lots of apps available for either iPhone or for Android phones that will allow you to take a picture of something and turn it into a PDF. You will then submit that PDF into Blackboard under that appropriate assignment or the exam. If you have problems submitting through Blackboard, meaning you try to submit, you should always go after you've submitted, wait a half hour or so, and check back and make sure that it's actually submitted. If you go back a half hour later and it still shows as it's pending or processing, it's stuck in an infinite loop and I will never receive it. If that's the case, please resubmit. If that's not working after you've tried submitting the first time, then I do have a Dropbox. So you go to the Dropbox tab in Blackboard, and that'll take you to a Dropbox where you can upload the file to me. Especially if you are submitting through the Dropbox, and again, submit through Blackboard first. Dropbox is the backup. It's a much more complicated process for me to grade things and see things through Dropbox than it is for me to do it and grade it in Blackboard. So always try Blackboard first. If that is not successful, then go to the Dropbox. But if you're submitting through the Dropbox, you need to include your name and the assignment name in the file name of the PDF that you're submitting. And the reason you have to do that is because they don't get sorted or filed according to who submits them or what assignment they're going for. They just come into this one folder, which to me, I see MA125, and I know they came to the class, so I need to have your name and the assignment name in the file name of any files that you submit through Dropbox. Not as critical through Blackboard, because Blackboard does file it according to who submitted it and under the assignment you submitted it as. So that makes it work a little bit easier for me that way. And then I can grade it right there and put the grade in. Whereas I said, Dropbox, I have to do a lot of other things to make it work out. So that's that. If you look through the syllabus, you will see that there's information about learning outcomes, topics, etc. Most important for you to recognize is the grading policy. Grading policy, 10% participation, 30% graded homeworks and quiz. It says end quizzes, but basically there will be one quiz, and I'll explain that in a moment. 40% in-class exams, I should put that in quotes, in-class exams, meaning we're not coming in person to take those exams, but they will happen throughout the 5-week semester at the appropriate times, and 20% for a comprehensive final exam, which will be that one that becomes available at 8 a.m. on June 28th. Okay, so that's how we're going to calculate the grade. Participation is going to come from you watching videos, communicating with me, turning in assignments, doing the exams, etc., logging into Blackboard. All of these things will count towards your participation grade, which is 10%. Graded homeworks and quiz. So all of those homework assignments are going to be available on Blackboard. They're due at a certain time, essentially what would be considered the next day at noon. All those due dates are in Blackboard. If you go to your grades tab in Blackboard, it will show you the due dates of these assignments. So you need to get them in by then. Also, if they make the transition to Blackboard Ultra, which is what they've been trying to, what they're trying to do, and I believe it's going into place for the summer semester, but I can't guarantee that. If that goes into place, then you actually have a schedule or timeline feature in there, which will show all of these due dates in it. Homeworks are due when they're due. They'll be graded out of 10 points from 0 to 10 based on completeness and or accuracy. So please get those in. Homework assignments that are turned in late will receive a deduction in grade. Okay, so try to get them in on time. Also, as I said, because this is such an abbreviated course, you don't want to get behind on it, because if you do, you're going to be in trouble fast. Okay. Now I said and quiz. There is going to be one quiz after the first, well actually at the end of the first week of the course. There is going to be a review quiz. It will be graded just like the homework assignments, so it counts as if it were a homework assignment, and that's the only time you're going to be tested on the material from the review chapter. After that, everything is going to be based on any new material that we're covering. So review chapter, we have the review quiz, and then it's done. Because that's all stuff that we should already be familiar with. It's just to refresh our memories. With the exams, now you may use a calculator for the quiz, you may use a calculator for any of the exams. The exams will be made available to you for a 24-hour period of time, and you will have a certain amount of time to do it from the time you start. So if I look at that just to verify, so I've got it set up where exams will be available from 8 a.m. one day till 8 a.m. the next day. They'll be due at that 8 a.m. of the next day, so don't wait till the end and not get it in on time. You will have 3 hours to complete an exam from the time that you start the exam. As I said, you may use your calculator to help you with the exam. You don't have to do everything by hand. Okay, there will be 2 in-class exams, so you can say that each exam is worth 20% of your class grade. And then there will be the final exam, which the final exam you will have 24 hours to do that exam. There's no time limit within that, so it will become available on June 28th, and it will be due on June 29th, so 8 a.m. June 28th till 8 a.m. June 29th. It will be available, and you can work on that for the full 24 hours if you want. So you don't have to stress about not having enough time to take the final exam. Which does lead into disability. If you have a disability, documented disability, please make sure you contact the Office of Accessibility Resources so that they can get an accommodation plan in place, and make sure that you send that accommodation plan to me so it can be put in place. Okay, so that means you may get an accommodation that allows you 1.5 time on exams. That means for the in-class exams that you only would have 3 hours, now you have 4.5 hours to take that exam, as long as I have that accommodation. Unfortunately for the final exam, that does not come into effect, because in the final exam, I'm essentially giving you 24 hours. It's obviously not a 24-hour exam. So it's up to you to determine how much of that 24 hours you're going to use. So just take that into account. Okay, talked about the topic videos, participation, homeworks, quizzes and exams in the final exam. Extra assistance, please take note that there is extra assistance available to you. There will be tutors available to you this summer, either online or in person in the Learning Commons. I did include an announcement in Blackboard that gives you the link to the tutoring page on the school website so that you can schedule tutoring sessions and get the assistance if you need it. Obviously, I'm available also depending upon the time, so that's where you email me, say, hey, Mr. Davis, can we get together at such and such a time? I have some questions, and I will work with you as much as possible on that. Also, just feel free to send me an email and say, hey, Mr. Davis, I'm having difficulty with this assignment, number 2, I just don't understand what it's asking, or I can't figure out how this works, or whatever. So, willing to help you with that. The tutors are willing to help. So take advantage of those resources. All that's free. Tutoring doesn't cost you anything, so take advantage of it. Go see those tutors. Otherwise, a lot of stuff here. Obviously, no cheating. If I find that you are cheating, you have cheated on an exam or a quiz, you will get penalized for that, which in my book, that is, you get a 0 for that quiz or that exam, and a warning. Second time you fail the course, then I make sure it goes in your permanent school record. So don't cheat. You may collaborate on homework assignments. If you want to work together with other people on the homework assignment, that's fine, as long as you're collaborating, not copying. It shouldn't be somebody else doing the work and you just copy it over, but working together on those is fine. You may not collaborate with anyone on any exam, in class or final. That is your time to show that what you have learned. You are not allowed to collaborate with anybody else, discuss it with anybody else, or anything of the sort. Okay? So just be aware of that. And I do retain the right to modify my syllabus at any time or change any sort of the plans or scheduling as necessary. Now, if you look at the last page of the syllabus, page 7 of the syllabus, it has a course calendar. It says it's tentative, but boy, it would take a lot for it to change at this point because of the way it's set up. So you'll see that each day there are certain chapters and sections from the source text that are being used. You'll also notice that I have the supplemental text chapter and section listed on there, so that's where you want to go to look at those and make sure that you understand the material if you need to review it. Remember, I don't want you to have to buy a textbook, so I've got that OpenStax text. So these are the ones that tend to mesh best with these topics. So each day there is a selection of chapter and or topics listed. Those are essentially what you should be viewing the videos for and doing the homework assignments for, and they will be due the next day at noon. So we can look at the first day, 5/24, May 24th. You see that we're covering the syllabus, which actually we're covering right now. Chapter R, Section 1, and Chapter R, Section 2. So that means the homework assignments for Chapter R, Sections 1 and 2 will be due at noon on the next day, which is May 25th. Notice that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't have topics for Friday because Thursday's topics, the assignments will be due noon on Friday. So we're really taking the whole 5 days. I'm just splitting it up like this. So you have 4 days of topics, and each day at noon, those assignments are due. You'll also notice that on May 27th, there is the quiz. So that quiz will become available on that Friday at 8 a.m. and will be due on Saturday at 8 a.m. Pay close attention to when the exams are, because if you miss an exam, you get a 0 for that exam. Now, most of you should not have any problems with being able to take the exams at the appointed time. If you do know that something's going to happen where you're unable to take an exam when it is scheduled, which it's on the syllabus here, it tells you exactly when. So June 9th is a day where you're going to have an exam from 8 o'clock that morning until 8 o'clock the next morning. On June 22nd is a day you're going to have the exam from 8 o'clock that morning to 8 o'clock the next morning. It'll be available. So if you know you're not going to be able to make the exam for some reason, you're scheduled to have some procedure done in the hospital and you're going to be in the hospital that day and the next or whatever, let me know in advance and we can schedule for you to take that exam early. All of my exams are already written. I already wrote them up for the semester. I've got all my homework assignments are written up, so all of those things already exist. So I just need to make them accessible to you at a different time if necessary. So contact me in advance. If you contact me afterwards and say, well, I'm sorry I missed the exam, that's a 0 unless you have proof of death and resurrection. Okay? So you've got to do those exams when they're scheduled. We just don't have time to have people taking exams 2-3 days later, because that's like having people take the exam 2 to 3 weeks later in an actual course. It just doesn't work. So that's the syllabus, so I can get rid of that by syllabus. Okay, other things that I wanted to talk about, I think I covered most of them. And it looks like I have, so I can get rid of that. So again, welcome to the course. Please contact me if you have any concerns. And also, if you realize that this is just going to be too intense, covering all this material so rapidly, don't feel bad about withdrawing from the course and getting yourself out of that situation. You've got a few days to add or drop courses for the summer. So if you realize this isn't going to work for you, get out early. Don't kill yourself off through half of it and realize I just can't do it and then end up with a failing grade in the class. I love math. I teach math. I do math constantly. I would not sign up for a course in this format. I would not sign up unless there was no other way. I have to clarify that, because if it was the only way I could take the course, I would. But I would not choose otherwise to take a 5-week abbreviated math course like this. Especially not online. So I understand that. So please make your decisions wisely, determining whether this is the course for you. But if you do make the decision to be in this course, realize it's going to take time and effort on a daily basis, and dedicate yourself to getting through it. One good thing is, by the end of June, you're done. So that is a big advantage to a course like this. By the end of June, you're done. So you survive 5 weeks, and you're done. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So sometimes I look at things like that and go, it's like, well, I'm 3 weeks into this thing, it's killing me, but I only have 2 more weeks to go. So if you choose to continue in this course, please dedicate yourself to finishing this course and doing all the things necessary to do well in this course. And if you need anything, feel free to email me, sdavis2@mbcc.edu, and I hope we have a wonderful 5 weeks.